Summer's around the corner and you are probably thinking, right, time to sort the diet out and finally get in shape for once. But where do you even begin? Cutting carbs, fasting, living on salads, eating carnivore? Before you dive headfirst into a rabbit hole of restriction, let's break it down properly and most importantly, even more simply, so you can start succeeding at dieting for once in your life. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly where to start with your summer diet. There's going to be no nonsense, no extremes, just real sustainable steps that actually work. And we'll ultimately start discussing what you shouldn't be doing, which is probably something you've been tempted to do in the past, because that's what you've been taught online. And then the next thing I want to mention is about playing the long game, rather than the short one, which is usually what diets are based around. And that is likely what you've been doing up until now, without much success. And lastly, I'm going to share with you a little secret on how you can start succeeding at your diet and health goals, and ultimately life, so you can get back to that sexy, shaggable shape you were before you met your wife. First off, you might actually be saying, don't need your fantastic information, James, or your viral video. I've got my summer diet planned. I've got my 3 salads a day sorted and my mental amount of cardio and gym work planned out for the coming weeks, which means I'm not going to see my kids much or family because I'll be at the gym all day. Just hold your horses, buddy. These coming weeks honestly sound depressing. I would rather wipe my arse with a cactus that is on fire. And you are kidding yourself if you're excited about carrying those sort of things out every day. You will be glad to know you don't have to be that restrictive or boring with your food choices. I'm not saying that salads are boring, by the way, but you can be a bit more creative and create foods that are more in line with the ones that you enjoy, because enjoyment increases the chances of you sticking to it longer. Funnily enough, many of you assume that you have to create this over-restrictive diet to see results, and some people actually respond really well to it. But most of you out there have hectic lives with kids and jobs probably, and those kind of things don't fare too well with this amount of restriction. Juggling that and over-restriction tend not to work, but most of you with hectic lives with kids and jobs probably won't fare too well with this amount of restriction. I'm just being honest, and you might be thinking, bullshit. But I do have a free offer for you to back this up. I've got a bunch of emails that I can send to you over the next 31 days that will help you set up your very own diet. One that lets you enjoy some foods that you love without over-restricting and only stretching yourself in terms of effort as and when you need it. Basically, creating a flexible approach to your diet and health, something that you have probably never done before. And flexibility is the secret to success. FYI. So sign up below. The advice is actually made for lazy dads in mind, to make small changes you don't even notice for big results. But anyway, back to the video. So on to my next point, which I hope I'm not ultimately repeating, but we'll start with a little secret. There's been very little long-term sustainable health changes made by severely under-eating and severely over-exercising. Because when you over-exercise, you need food to recover and provide you energy. And when you under-eat, you'll not be getting anywhere near enough food for you to give you energy just to get you through your day or be able to exercise effectively. You are going to have a bad time, which is ultimately why everyone with January health, New Year, New Me health goals fail. They pack in the diet within 7 days because they're absolutely knackered. So you may be now seeing why you're making this harder than it needs to be. It's like beating a dead horse kind of thing. Even if there was any amount of success with this approach, it's done by someone with a wealth of experience and also someone who hates their life. I'm joking, but it's unlikely done by Davey with 3 mental kids and an office job and wants to shed a few kilos or drop a few belt sizes. So the point that I'm wanting to make here is, you might want to slow down the efforts and expectations you have on yourself to lose weight. In your head, you might want to lose 10 kilos in 6 weeks before your holiday. How realistic is that whilst keeping up with your everyday normal life and non-negotiables like being a dad, working, being a loving partner, etc.? You're telling me you want to lose 10 kilos in 6 weeks on top of all those things that impact your mental health? Because I would say that you're smoking crack if you think you can do that, because that is a mental amount of undertaking you need to carry out. Even I would struggle with that. The rate you want to lose weight ultimately comes down to your preferences and capabilities. But if you're ultimately failing, which I would assume you are if you're here, the rate that you're choosing obviously isn't agreeing with you. And if you absolutely fucking hate dieting, you need to change it up, because dieting isn't really that bad. It's more of a minor inconvenience. You are literally failing at dieting right now because you've had no success so far. It sounds harsh, but it must be true. But what you might be saying now is, well, how do I actually start setting goals and succeeding, James? Well, don't you worry your little cotton socks friends, because I'm going to answer that in a few minutes. But first, I need you to try and change your mindset a wee bit. Not in like a culty, follow my lead kind of way. I've not got the attention span or energy to start one cult. And they tend to never actually be successful anyway. But the next point I want to make, which you'll hopefully listen to, because I'm evidence-based, is opening your mind to playing the long game. And I know that sounds really hippie and boring, but hear me out. What has wanting short-term instant results got you up until this point? Not very far. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be searching social media for answers or watching my ugly mug looking for them. There's nothing wrong with wanting short-term quick results, providing you know what you're doing. But up until this point, I don't think you do. And you also have to have a backup plan or a next step if it goes tits up. And that's what tends to happen after your efforts. It's either failure or absolutely nothing. And long-term success is actually a series of failings and success. But the most important part ultimately is, over a long-term period, you succeed more than you're failing. How crazy is that? And when I say a long period of time, I mean years, friend. And if you don't believe me, ask anyone that is in decent shape. They ultimately win more than they lose. And early on in this journey, that would have come down to perseverance and drive, etc. And then long-term success will just come down to experience and discipline and all those kinds of things. Ultimately, they get to the point they basically see the negatives in not training and not eating well. But again, at the start of their journey, they'll have bulged up a fair amount, but they stuck to it. and pushed through, persevered, they found a way to make it work and realise the benefits. And right now you're at the start point where you're failing for whatever reasons. Terrible advice, over restriction, not really knowing what you're doing, inexperience, eating terrible, boring foods all the time, not enjoying the process, unrealistic goals, not listening to me, etc. So you just need to adjust and keep at it, because the results are found in the hard work that you're not doing. You're a few weeks or months away from feeling and looking the best you ever have in recent years. So get off your arse and start doing the work. Properly, of course. Now, before I share my secret on how you can start succeeding in the laziest way possible, I've got something that I want to send you for free over the next 31 days, which is just a bunch of emails that will explain to you how you can create your very own bespoke diet that's tailored to your unique, crazy, mental life. And all I need is your email address. And if it's not for you, just unsubscribe. You literally have nothing to lose. I've actually called them the Lazy Dad's Guide to Losing Weight. Anyway, speaking of lazy, now on to my next point about getting some wins under your belt. There is and forever will be an assumption online that you need to burst your balls to get anything good in life. And I suppose that is kind of true to an extent. There is a time and place for it. But personally, I think those kinds of effort come a little bit later on in this pursuit of better health. Like choosing other calorie-friendly options rather than your favourite calorie-dense foods when you're out eating, exercising when you don't have the energy, getting up early to go to the gym, meal prepping. If these things sound boring and unappealing to you, this just proves that you're still needing to do the hard work to get to the point where you're content at doing them, because of the benefits they ultimately provide you. And yet, all those things can be viewed as a slight pain in the arse, and they do come with time. But at the beginning, you want some wins to get the ball rolling, enough of them where they become automatic, and you don't even need effort to do them afterwards. Some really easy, lazy as fuck, effortless goals. The type of goals that you don't even notice. Drink more water, eat more whole foods, more protein, more steps, less booze and takeaways, more time spent outdoors, instead of watching shite on the TV or the internet. Trying to get better sleep, less time scrolling. All these things are so easy. They are embarrassing if you fail them, in my opinion anyway. These effortless goals add up over a period of time that benefit your health, just like the years of neglecting your health have added up over time. It is never too late to change your health. The only caveat to that is when it chronically affects you, obviously. So don't let that happen, because it might be too late at that point, friend, because you have a family that look up to you and depend on you. So take my free advice and we will get you to where you want to be. And ultimately, enjoy your holiday this summer with your top off. But now we have the early stages of your summer body underway. But I do want you to watch this video right here that talks about making sure you keep your goals realistic and giving your diet the attention it deserves, amongst a few other things. Because if you don't do these things, it's going to be hard to achieve that sexy as fuck look you're wanting to have on the beach when you're away with your family. So give it a go. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you in the next video.